Thank you all. And let me just, it is an honor for me to follow one of the great senators in the recent history of our country, Tom Harkin. When Tom tells you that he is a labor guy, he is not just kidding. I was in many, many closed-door meetings. There was nobody, and I say nobody, who fought harder for unions and working people than Tom Harkin did. Tom, thank you so much. I'm going to be very brief, but just first of all, let me thank Wisconsin, Montana, and Alaska for your support. I was in Montana. We campaigned in Wisconsin. My wife, Jane, did the work in Alaska. And that's where we got the largest vote, so I don't know. But my son Levy is here. Lev, there he is. Okay. Look, I just want to pick up on a few of the points that Senator Harkin made. And the point is, first of all, this is an unbelievably critical moment in American economic and political history. I don't have to explain to anybody in this room that while we have come a long way economically in the last 7.5 years, now Republican friends don't talk about it. They don't talk about the economy that President Obama inherited and the fact that we were losing 800,000 jobs a month and that the world's financial system was literally on the verge of collapse. That's what Obama and Biden inherited. And nobody, except the most cynical and partisan people in the world, would deny that we are in much, much better shape today than we were when President Obama came in. That's true. But there's another truth. There is another truth that also cannot be denied. And that is, while we're better off today than we were in the midst of that very deep and dark depression, the truth of the matter is that for the last 35 or 40 years, the great middle class, once the envy of the world, has been disappearing. That's the truth. The truth is that millions of our people in Wisconsin, in Montana, in Alaska, are today working longer hours for lower wages. And they're asking why? What happened? We have seen an explosion of technology, right? Worker productivity is going up. That's a fact. Why are people working longer hours for low wages? And it has everything to do with bad public policy. And if there is a theme of our campaign, that theme is we have to think big, not small. You know, if we were a poor country, and there are many poor countries around the world, then we would sit around and we'd say, well, it's too bad. We can't have health care for all people because we're too poor. We can't have good education for all of our children. We're too poor. We can't rebuild our infrastructure. We are too poor. Well, guess what? The United States is not a poor country. We are the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But the problem is, and we have to deal with this problem, that in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, almost all of the new wealth and income being generated is going to the top 1%. We got to deal with that reality. And that means raising the minimum wage to a living wage, in my view, $15 an hour. And I want you all to know, that Hillary Clinton is running against the guy who does not want to raise the federal minimum wage above the starvation minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. In fact, he supports the rights of states to lower the minimum wage. All right? We need pay equity for women. No excuse. Hillary Clinton believes that. Donald Trump does not. I'm the ranking member in the Senate on the Budget Committee, so I deal with a lot of these issues. We deal with a Senate budget. A couple of years ago, Republicans pushed through a budget that would eliminate Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, throw 20 million people off of health insurance. And I asked them, as the ranking member, you have the right to do this, tell me, Mr. Chairman, what happens to 20 million people who are thrown off of health insurance? By the way, how many of them will die? Oh, well, we don't know anything about that. We don't know. No comment on that. That's the reality. We need, as a nation, not to be throwing 20 million people off of health insurance. We need to be moving, in my view, to a Medicare for all health care system that guarantees health care for all. Hillary Clinton is running, and this really, all of us have Republican friends and we have conservative friends and we like them and we disagree on policy. Nothing wrong with that. It's called democracy. But where it becomes embarrassing, and Tom Harkin knows this because he was in the Senate, and Tammy Baldwin, I say, where's Tammy? Tammy knows this. How do you make judgments about public policy? You got to go to experts. You got to go to scientists. That's what you do. You can't do public policy without having factual, scientific information in front of you. Virtually the entire scientific community is in agreement, unanimous agreement. Climate change is real, it is caused by human activity, and it is already, not tomorrow, today, as all of you know, doing devastating harm to our country and countries all over the world. Talk about the forest fires that are raging right now in California, the drought in California, the floods, Miami being flooded, etc., all over the world. And you have a candidate running for president of the United States who rejects science, who tells us that climate change is a quote-unquote hoax perpetrated by the Chinese, by the way. You can't have a president who rejects science, not when you're dealing with an issue in which the future of the planet is at stake. So our job is multifold, it seems to me. Number one, obviously in the next few months, we have got to do everything that we can to make sure that Donald Trump, who in my view is the worst, least prepared candidate for president in my lifetime. Number two, we've got to obviously elect Hillary Clinton. Number three, we have got to, as Tom said a moment ago, stay focused on our issues and force every level of government to represent working people. One of the accomplishments of our campaign was to involve millions of people, a lot of young people, in the political process, and we have got to keep that going, and we are going to keep that going. Our campaign is going to transition to another organization which is going to support candidates running for school board, for city council, for state legislature. If I've learned anything in this campaign, and I say this not rhetorically, but from the bottom of my heart, there are wonderful people in every state in this country, really great people, who love this country, who want to see this country become all that we know that we can become. So our job is to bring people into the political process around a progressive agenda, an agenda that says to the 1%, sorry, you are not going to get it all. This country, our government, belongs to all of us. So let me conclude by thanking all of you for the support that you gave the political revolution, and I continue to look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you all very much.